intended to settle the dispute, but we have seen a lot of outpour from the various camps over there. As we do know, a few minutes ago, the National Democratic Congress, led by its chairman, Mr. Johnson Ketia, held a press conference, and we want to cross over live to our correspondent, Andy Opondenchi, who is there to give us some live update of what to, what to know from the press meeting. But Johnson Ketia, who is the national chairman of the NDC, has stated a lot of conversations, but I believe my colleague Andy is back on the line. Andy, what is the latest after the press conference?
Yeah, so Melo, I am currently here at the Adabraka, the NDC's headquarters, where the NDC's national chairman, here he made mention that.
Hello, Andy.
Hello, can you hear me, Melo?
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, so the conference basically today was about the recoalition that is going on, and the national chairman, that's Johnson Ketia, described the ongoing recoalition as amounting to illegality. He did mention that, or political in the sense that the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah, has not done things and also not brought to all political parties, but has taken the decision by herself in recollating and declaring some constituencies results. And he also made mention that things will change in the next government. It is not about winning or losing election. He made mention about the things that is going on currently that has also resulted in some form of violence in the country. So if this video is ready, if you can play a bite from a stadium here so that we can continue.
Oh, perfectly, Andy. We'll get to that visuals. I mean, we'll get back to you. But as we said, let's get a bite of what the national chairman for the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Ketia, has been speaking. We'll get back to you once again, Andy. Be on hold.
Sure.
Now, and by the ruling of the Wenchi court in the case of the Techiman issue, is that even if you are holding a pink sheet signed by the Electoral Commission, it's useless. If the Electoral Commission is able to get another pink sheet whose figures are different, then you must go according to the Electoral Commission's figures. So what check would the political parties have against the Electoral Commission officials themselves engaging in fraud? Nothing. So it's a major issue we will be addressing in the next government to make sure that we restore Kenyans have in our commission before measure. Where we are going now, and by the ruling of the Wenchi court in the case of the Techiman issue, is that even if you are holding a pink sheet signed by the Electoral Commission, it's useless. If the Electoral Commission is able to get another pink sheet whose figures are different, then you must go according to the Electoral Commission's figures. So what check would the political parties have against the Electoral Commission officials themselves engaging in fraud?
Yeah, Andy, so we have played that bite you called for. Once again, what is the other developments that he spoke about? Because we also know that he also told the going majority leader, Afenyo Marking, to shut up. On what basis did he say that?
So, Melo, the press ended like 20 minutes ago, and basically the time that we got here, the information we have is what we have been able to take currently here. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm listening, Andy. Go on.
Yeah, so the information that we have is what we've been able to currently take. But what he made mention is that this is a major issue that needs to be addressed. He made mention that this has to be addressed, and in the next government, they will be addressing that. And he also added that they will restore the peace that Ghana needs to have in the country.
Right, Andy, moving on, we how is the atmosphere from the camp of the NDC executive, looking at the fact that they have said that yes, if all these processes are not so much of importance to some of the members, for them they are very poised in making sure that every seat that they have won, they secure that. They talk about the fact that they want to go to court. They've put in an injunction on the Nsewoma Dredri, constituency, which I believe that the NPP will also react to it. But beyond that, what are some of the information you have picked from the camp of the NDC?
Hello, Melo, can you come again?
All right, so I was asking, beyond this whole, I should say, razzmatazz has characterized the process, as we indicated, the national chairman has talked about the process. He has also made mention that he's not even been part of the process so far, but I was asking if you have been able to find out what legal measures they say they will be proceeding on.
Okay, so Melo, as stated, the time that the team got here at the headquarters, NDC's headquarters, the information that we got was basically the chairman, Johnson Atidikecha, making mention that they will address this issue that is going on, and in the next government, peace will be restored. So that's basically the information we have. I'm still here at the headquarters, and whatever information I have, I get, we'll be able to give our viewers in a subsequent bulletin.
All right, Andy. Finally, before I let you go, have you been able to speak to any of the executives?
No, please.
All right. All right. So, Andy, thank you so much. We'll get back to you as and when we do have more information. But let's once again go back to the national headquarters, where the national chairman, Johnson Atidikecha, earlier engaged the press.
Measure where we are going now, and by the ruling of the Wenchi court in the case of the Techiman issue, is that even if you are holding a pink sheet signed by the electoral commission, it's useless. If the electoral commission is able to get another pink sheet whose figures are different, then you must go according to the electoral commission's figures. So what check will the political parties have against the electoral commission officials themselves engaging in fraud? Nothing. So it's a major issue we will be addressing in the next government to make sure that we restore the credibility of the electoral commission and the confidence Ghanaians have in our commission before the advent of that changes. So I think we have measured where we are going now, and by the ruling of the Wenchi court in the case of the Techiman issue, is that even if you are holding a pink sheet signed by the electoral commission, it's useless. If the electoral commission is able to get another pink sheet whose figures are different, then you must go according to the electoral commission's figures. So what check will the political parties have against the electoral commission officials themselves engaging in fraud? Nothing. So it's a major issue we will be addressing in the next government to make sure that we restore the credibility of the electoral commission and the confidence Ghanaians have in our commission before the advent of that changes. So I think we have measured where we are going now, and by the ruling of the Wenchi court in the case of the Techiman issue, is that even if you are holding a pink sheet signed by the electoral commission, it's useless. If the electoral commission is able to get another pink sheet whose figures are different, then you must go according to the electoral commission's figures. So what check will the political parties have against the electoral commission officials themselves engaging in fraud? Nothing. So it's a major issue we will be addressing in the next government to make sure that we restore the credibility of the electoral commission and the confidence Ghanaians have in our commission before the the advent of that changes. So I think we have measured where we are going now, and by the ruling of the Wenchi court in the case of the Techiman issue, is that even if you are 2016, when we complained initially about the results that were being collated, collation had not ended. Presidential collation had not ended. Peace Council members came to President Mohammed's office and sought to find out from us what we thought they could do, because we had addressed the press that wrong things were being done. So they followed up to President Mohammed's office to try to find out whether they could be of any help, because they heard us appealing to them. And we said that the pink sheets are there. Things that are being done, we believe are wrong. So can we all meet at a place, MPP, NDC, in the presence of external observers, then we all go through the collation, and whatever the figures will come out, we will all accept. That was where they were talking about it.
And so that was the national chairman for the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, engaging the press earlier. We tried so hard to engage a constitutional lawyer to have a better understanding on what the CI really says about all of this. We do know that on which basis the most especially the NDC is basing the argument on is the CI 127, which we would want to show on your screens to note regulations 22 of the electoral Public Election Regulations Act. That's a CI 127. Let's just brief you about it so you can have a fair idea and why there's been a lot of contention in some of the constituencies, especially also the tension that has brewed in the Aduedri constituency, where the outgoing, let me just say for now, Aduedri, Mr. Anodompre is also not so happy with this. So as you see on your screens, it says that these specified collation procedure for every constituency presidential election results to the Regional Coalition Center and to the National Coalition Center for declaration purpose. It states that the returning officers collate presidential elections results from all polling stations in their constituencies. The collated results are forwarded to the district electoral officer, whose responsibility to trust is to forward a copy to the regional coalition officer at the regional level. But it looks like most of these things, we saw a lot of discrepancies that really was characterizing with the whole process. It goes on to say that's Regulation 7 it continues to say that the registered voter who is a student or a member of a security service on special duties can apply to the returning officer of the constituency where the registered voter is resident or ordinarily resident for less than 12 months other than constituency registered as a voter. Regulations 38 says that the appointment of the regional coalition officer with the primary responsibility to collate constituency presidential election results of the regional level and then send it to the chairman of the Electoral Commission to the head office in Accra. Well, I believe that was the reason why the contention that happened in the eastern region was brought later to the police depot yesterday. As we do know, since the whole process was capitalized with a lot of contention at the police depot, there was a lot of chaos over there. As of now, the parties are still contesting the results. It's quite interesting. It goes on to say, maybe I'll wrap up, it says that these specified collation procedures for every constituency presidential election results to the regional coalition center and to the national coalition center for declaration purposes. Now, all these are specified under the Public Elections Regulations CI 127 2020. It also goes on to speak about the returning officer collating presidential elections results from all polling stations in the constituencies, which it says that the collated results are forwarded to the district electoral officer, whose responsibility and trust is to forward a copy to the regional coalition officer at the regional level. On that basis, the NDC has also made mention that in some of the constituencies, most of these were done, but the returning officers are not the one declaring the results, which according to them is against the law. The Adwoji constituency, for instance, where the deputy returning officer was the one to have declared the result, when the official returning officer came, he was like, no, the result is in favor of the NDC. So there have been a lot of discrepancies, which we're trying to have to get a constitutional lawyer to help us better understand the whole procedure. Maybe I'll take the final one. It says that the regional coalition officer collates all the constituencies' presidential election results and forwards the regional summary results sheet to the chairman of the Electoral Commission. A copy of the regional presidential result sheet is posted on the at the regional office, and the chairman of the Electoral Commission collates all the collated regional results based on constituencies results in each region. Then he or she declares the presidential election results. We saw that earlier. The post a copy also to the declaration of presidential result of at the head office of the commission. Well, as I said earlier, we're trying so hard to get a constitutional lawyer to help us understand in the layman perspective what DCI and the whole contention mean in this coming elections and aftermath of it. But let's do more news here on Midday. Once again, I'm Eric Melo. Let's know what you think about all the topics we'll talk about as well. Roxin Konde Massin, the Director of Operations at SENCOM, has accused Electoral Commission officials of causing tension among political parties at the Coalition Center. In an interview on ABC in the morning, he stressed that EC officials do not have any authority to transfer the declaration of the results to Regional Coalition Center for recollation and declaration. He argued that this practice is illegal and should be prohibited.
DC elect is not an MP. It's not an MP, so it can be said respectfully. If it's an MP, that is a different ballgame together. And I think that the current speaker and the Chief Justice has even put up administrative procedure whereby they have a specific day that you can serve them. So that is not entirely correct, respectfully to the lawyer, even though I know I'm not a lawyer. So respectfully to him, you may need to reconsider that. There's vast difference between MP-elect and MP. MP-elect is not an MP until he's sworn in.
So that is what I'm saying, that if the person is sworn in, at what point are you suggesting that an injunction can be placed on the person? At what point?
But before, we have from now to January 6th, that court process can be served. If he fails, for instance, Mr. Honorable Patrick Boama's case, I'm not saying this is what he's doing. He's saying he's going to court. He can go to court and challenge the results now so that the MP is not sworn in. So you don't wait for the man to swear in and say because he's an MP you cannot serve him. Even that is not entirely correct. You can still serve an MP. We saw MPs going to court at 214 and Co. How were they served?
Well, this conversation was had earlier on ABC in the morning. But meanwhile, Roxin Konde Massin further emphasized the constituents expressing issues with the election result, which you should have concerns addressed and resolved before the swearing in of the elected member of parliament. He also stressed that any discrepancy or dispute regarding the result should be thoroughly investigated and clarified to ensure a fair and transparent process, allowing for the proper validation of election outcomes before the official inauguration of the MPs.
These parliamentary contentions, this one, I will put it solely at the doorsteps of Electoral Commission. Some of the officers of the Electoral Commission, they are creating this tension between political parties. We all know that a moment election result is declared by an assigned electoral officer, whether you are happy with it or not, nobody, not even the commissioner of EC, can annul already declared results. The only body authorized to do that, especially when it has to do with parliamentary result, is the High Court, and at best, an appeal can be made to the Court of Appeal. So now you have electoral officers declaring people. Whatever fraudulent declaration could be, whether it is right or not, it doesn't matter that EC does not have mandate or authority to say that we are now calling the results or the declare or purported declare results to regional policing center to recollate and declare. Policing center to recollate and declare. What they are doing amount to illegality. And I'm even surprised political.
Well, in more news, Richard Jemfi, a member of the New Patriotic Party communications team, has also stated that the National Democratic Congress cannot put an injunction on the electoral process. Let's take a bite of this.
Enough to read between the lines. See, in Parliament, even if 10, 15 are going to make sure that the business of Parliament will be. Now, for you journalists in particular, this government signed the right to information, so they cannot conceal the deeds that will be done in Parliament. I can assure you that with this number, they are going to be the most vociferous minority we've had in decades. You mark it on the wall. So it doesn't matter. If they are thinking that with the supermajority they are going to bully as they've started, they should think again. This minority is to make sure that any business of government that will pass through Parliament will come to the light of day for everybody, for the public to know, and we are going to decide at the end of the day whether they did a good business with their majority or not. We were punished in 2020 when we had absolute control, 169 member of parliament. The Ghanaian electorate punished us in 2020. It became 137, where by virtue of Formina MP joining us to make us the majority. What I'm saying is that the supermajority will account to nothing when they think that they are going to use that to bully and conceal illegalities in Parliament. We will punish them when the time comes. Saying enough to read between the lines. See, in Parliament, even if 10, 15 are going to make sure that the business of Parliament will be. Now, for you journalists in particular, this government signed the right to information, so they cannot conceal the deeds that will be done in Parliament. I can assure you that with this number, they are going to be the most vociferous minority we've had in decades. You mark it on the wall. So it doesn't matter. If they are thinking that with the supermajority they are going to bully as they've started, they should think again. This minority is to make sure that any business of government that will pass through Parliament will come to the light of day for everybody, for the public to know, and we are going to decide at the end of the day whether they did a good business with their majority or not. We were punished in 2020 when we had absolute control, 169 member of parliament. The Ghanaian electorate punished us in 2020. It became 137, where by virtue of Formina MP joining us to make us the majority. What I'm saying is that the supermajority will account to nothing when they think that they are going to use that to bully and conceal illegalities in Parliament. We will punish them when the time comes. Saying enough to read between the lines. See, in Parliament, even if 10, 15 are going to make sure that the business of Parliament will be. Now, for you journalists in particular, this government signed the right to information, so they cannot conceal the deeds that will be done in Parliament. I can assure you that with this number, they are going to be the most vociferous minority we've had in decades. You mark it on the wall. So it doesn't matter. If they are thinking that with the supermajority they are going to bully as they've started, they should think again. This minority is to make sure that any business of government that will pass through Parliament will come to the light of day for everybody, for the public to know, and we are going to decide at the end of the day whether they did a good business with their majority or not. We were punished in 2020 when we had absolute control, 169 member of parliament. The Ghanaian electorate they punished us in 2020. It became 137, where by virtue of Fomena MP joining us to make us the majority. What I'm saying is that the supermajority will account to nothing when they think that they are going to use that to bully and conceal illegalities in Parliament. We will punish them when the time comes. Saying enough to read between the lines. See, in Parliament, even if 10, 15 are going to make sure that the business of Parliament will be. Now, for you journalists in particular, this government signed, so they cannot conceal the deeds that will.
Looks like there's going to be some interesting days ahead of us, and we are going to give you comprehensive coverage on that. But let's go on the line and speak with David Agbe. He is with the Institute of Security and Governance. Mr. David, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
I believe you have been following the process after the election and the whole drama that has unfolded. We also were wanting to better understand what the CI specifies or can also be fit in this conversation. Help us with the layman understanding where the CI, that is the CI 1127, says about all of this process and your general afterthought of this election.
I think that the CI talks about the fact that the electoral processes have to be free and fair to the general voters. And so the CI gives you an indication of how the electoral body or the electoral body need to ensure that the election is free and fair to all Ghanaians. And we've gone beyond even the election now. Now where we are now is about the collation and the disputes surrounding the whole elections and then the post-election violence. That is where we've actually got to now, where materials have been moved from where the election has been actually disputed from Akwatia, Ashanti region, and some part of the country. So that is where we are now. Now it's about the fact that the election has actually been declared, and some of the Electoral Commission officers are trying to do recollation and redeclaration of results. That is where there is so much of a dispute now.
The other conversation is the fact that it specifies that after the collation, which has been done by on the election day, and the declaration has been made, then it means that where does the recollation come in here?
Recollation and redeclaration is not part of the electoral system that we do know about, and so this it's quite surprising that the electoral body, electoral commission, is trying to do what is unlawful, and it is illegal for electoral commission officers to be doing redeclaration and recollation here and there. The recollation can be done, but it should be done at the various constituencies. But where we are now is that the electoral commission has moved some of the materials from different region to the regional capital to Tesano, where they are declaring some of the results, changing results, which are not supposed to be done by the Electoral Commission. The election is involved between parties, and so before election can be declared, those political parties need to be there. And in this case, the main political parties, which is NDC and MPP and other, registered political parties or movement, they all need to be present before result could be declared. But here we are now that the Electoral Commission is actually perpetrating some, criminal activities which affect the electoral system. And so it is incumbent on the Electoral Commission to actually come out now for us to know why is it that they are declaring results again. Redeclaration is not something lawful at all. And so what happened at Tema and other places where electoral body has actually declared the result, and then they turn 360 degrees and coming to tell Ghanaians that they were under duress and all that, it looks as if the Electoral Commission officials are trying to jeopardize the success story that we've actually chalked so far. I mean, it is not fair for Electoral Commission officers to be doing those things. You declare the results, and then that is the end of it. But to point to the fact that you were under duress, then it tells you that you were not doing what is right. Why is it that media personnel were there, other officials were there, military officers, police officers were there, and then the Electoral Commission officials are now telling Ghanaians that they were under duress before the declaration was done? And so it is not the best for us at all.
Mr. Agbe, just as you mentioned that some of the electoral officers have said that they were under duress, I was just about to ask, you also have made mention that indeed, as we see on our screens, electoral officers were there, police personnel were there, but still they say they were under duress. Would you say that political parties and their agents have garnered some kind of energy where they cannot even respect the authorities that be in our electoral process anymore in terms of governance?
You see, the whole processes so far, I think that it is the Electoral Commission officials that delays the declaration of the result at various constituencies. Normally, elections that I have observed for many, many years, as far back 1996, what normally happens is that parliamentary seats normally comes first before even the presidential. But in this case, that parliamentary seat has become so contentious to the extent that materials have to be moved from various regions to the regional capital for recollations and all that. So it's making the whole system not following due process. So at this point in time, the Electoral Commission need to engage the stakeholders such that we can all see some level of transparency being done. But changing results and doing more like redeclaration and recollations and all those things will not work very well. And those electoral officers who are abusing the processes, those people need to be taken to the cleaners by ensuring that we prosecute those people so that it will serve as a deterrent for future elections which has to be held in this country.
Mr. Agbe, the Electoral Commissioner herself has said that it is finished, and that was when she declared the presidential results. Are we really done with this whole process? Because there seem to be contention still in the collation centers.
Are you suggesting that the Electoral Commissioner has said that it is finished?
No, I mean, I was trying to infer from her statement during her declaration of the presidential result, saying that it is finished. But I'm trying to say that in all of this, what should the electoral officers do?
What I gather from the Electoral Commissioner, Jane Mensah, was the fact that after the presidential declaration, she made a point that 9 constituencies, the elections are in dispute, and because their officers couldn't have the free will to declare, they are going to ensure that those declarations are done, and therefore, moving forward, what we are taxing Electoral Commission to do is to go according to her own words by saying that those 9 constituencies, declaration has to be done. If electoral materials have been burnt or electoral offices have been burnt, those ones call for re-elections, or if the political parties do have their pin sheet, they need to submit to the Electoral Commission, including the political parties, such that those collations could be done. But in this case that we are picking and we are sensing that Electoral Commission is trying to manipulate the processes by doing redeclaration, it is not the best, and it is not something that Ghanaians should accept. Electoral Commission should do what must be done such that there will be fairness as far as the election and the electioneering processes are concerned.
Mr. Agbe, finally, let's look about the fact that some of the party executives and its members storming the coalition centers. It really has called for concern, where some say that it is not the right thing to do. But now and then we do still see the party executives and their members storming the electoral coalition centers. What is accounting for all of this?
One key that we need to understand is the fact that contesting for elections is not a joke. And so if you've contested for elections and you spend so much, and the Electoral Commission is supposed to declare the result, and the Electoral Commission is not doing that, do you think that ordinary citizens who have spent so much time voting for their preferred presidential candidate or preferred parliamentary candidate will sit aloof? No. And so that is why ordinary citizens are pushing the security agencies that no, where things are going, it is not the best at all. And they are equally taxing the Electoral Commission to declare the election fair and square, so that those who have won should be declared as winners, but not trying to manipulate the processes in favor of somebody. So at this point in time, I've heard political parties organizing press conferences, but we all need to go to the drawing board by engaging the Electoral Commissioner to come out very clean that redeclaration of electoral result is something that is not known as far as our election processes are concerned.
So why then have we still maintained on the recollation and recounting process for this long time?
It is because the Electoral Commission is trying to abuse the processes. If you've picked a signal from the eastern region where elections were declared at a polling station or declared at the collation center at Ekwetia, and here we are, the Electoral Commission said that they were going to bring the material from Kibi and all the way. What we've realized that they brought all those material to Tesano and all those things. For me, it doesn't sit well with our electoral processes. Electoral Commission has to communicate well with all the political parties such that election result will not be declared at the blind side of all other political parties. It should be open. Media personnel should be there. Political parties have to be there. Other civil society organizations who are interested in the electoral processes must also be there, such that the election result will be declared, at an open place for people to know that this particular party or this particular candidate has won the election. Anything other than that, then it suggests that the Electoral Commission is trying to circumvent the electoral laws and processes, which is not good at all, and those people found culpable has to be prosecuted.
Mr. David Agbe, thank you so much this afternoon for engaging us on this conversation. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right.
We have been speaking with David Agbe, who's with the Institute of Governance, on the back of this conversation. Let's go for a break. We're back with some more stories, business also involved. In business, economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Patrick Assuming, has expressed reservations about the state of the economy, cautioning that the country is not out of the woods yet. His comment follows President Akufo-Addo's pronouncement, stating that Ghana's economy has recovered to pre-COVID levels of growth after recording a growth rate of 7.2%, bringing the average growth for the first 3 quarters to 6.3%. In an interview on ABC in the morning, Professor Assuming noted that while there's enough evidence to believe that the country is on a good economic recovery path, significant challenges still remain, as this progress is yet to reflect on the standard of living of the many Ghanaians.
It looks impressive, but when you begin to break them down, you see that there are still challenges. And then I think the other element to consider is, yes, the whole economy is growing. But if you look at the leading sectors and sub-sectors that are growing, the one I've just mentioned, what is the extent of Ghanaian participation in it? They will tell you that the number that is being read has no bearing on them. And you can't begrudge them, because the sectors that are doing well are sectors that have relatively minimum Ghanaian participation. And when those sectors do well, they don't tend to stimulate other sectors. The SME sector, the informal sector, where a lot of Ghanaians are actively participating, they are struggling.
Meanwhile, economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Patrick Isumi, has advised the incoming government, Mahama, and his government or administration to prioritize more investment into the agricultural and food production sector to sustain economic growth. According to him, targeted investment in these sectors could unlock the potentials for more economic progress and growth. Speaking on ABC in the morning, he deliberated the favor of the planting for food and jobs policy and addressed challenges plaguing this sector and called for more robust measures in order to achieve the targeted economic growth for government.
All the improvements in growth, agri sector is not doing well, food production is not doing well, and food prices are still rising. And I think that's very problematic. It's problematic for ordinary Ghanaians. Because of the challenges tells you how those programs are performed. I don't think you don't need anyone to tell you. If you've had planting for food and jobs for 7 years, and food prices are rising the rate they are, and we are still importing basic foodstuff, it should tell you that whatever we did under planting for food and jobs, they haven't worked out well. I mean, to be clear, I think that the idea behind planting for food and then it also.
And that's all for business, but let's do some more local news here on ABC Midday. The New Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for Nsewo Madridri, Frank Anodompre, did not accept a copy of the injunction served on him by a court bailiff. Anodompre, who is the incumbent MP of the area, was captured on a video by Accra-based television station TV3 walking away saying, and I quote, "If you're doing your job, do your job," when the bailiff approached him. Let's take a bite of what transpired.
So if you are doing your job, do your job.
Well, on the back of this, National Democratic Congress NDC had earlier on Friday, December 13, secured an interlocutory injunction to halt the recollation process of the Nsewo Madridri election result. A video captured by TV3 at the Tesino Police Depot on Friday, December 13, also specified exactly what transpired, and that was the video we played for you earlier. But let's do some more news here once again. The Tema Metropolitan Electoral Officer of the Electoral Commission, Ofosuhene Asante Mensah, has alleged that he was coerced to prominent members of National Democratic Congress NDC to declare Ebi Bright as the MP-elect for the Tema Central constituency following Saturday's polls. According to Mr. Asante, both his life and his lives of his officers were threatened by NDC officials and their angry supporters, forcing him to declare the result in favor of the NDC candidate. He went on to say that despite police officers being assigned to the collation center of his protection, and they took him to the Tema Regional Police Command for safety, when Mr. Dafiameko and Mr. Basintali drove their supporters to the police premises and insisted that he declared Ebi Bright as a winner. Under these extreme circumstances, he declared Ebi Bright as the MP-elect, even though the collation of result was not complete. He explained that results from 2 polling stations had not been collated yet, and he had these results being included. The NP candidate for the area, Charles Forson, would have won by a margin of 55 votes. We are back with some sports news after this break. Do stay. And in sport, the Premier League returns after a 2-week break with mouth-watering fixtures across 8 centres on Saturday, December 14, 2024. The battle for supremacy and the fight to avoid the drop will dominate the headlines as Matchday 13 is honoured this weekend on Saturday, December 14. The action kicks off at 3 p.m. with 8 exciting fixtures. Vision FC will take Mediama FC, and FC Samatex is going head-to-head with Heart of Lions, while the Wafam Park Sukakope Accra Lions face off against Nations FC at the University of Ghana Stadium. Also, Legon Cities will meet Bichim United in what promises to be a tactical shutdown. And up north at the Aliyu Muhammad Sports Stadium, Karila United welcome Gold Star FC, and Tratraman FC battles it out with Dreams FC over the Golden City Park. Brekum Chelsea locks horn with Adriana FC, and 2 sides with a rich history of intense encounters. Now, Basaka Holy Stars are set to also clash with the Young Apostles in crucial battles for points. But the weekend isn't over yet, so Sunday, December 15 fixtures, the biggest game of all. At the Babayara Sports Stadium, it's an epic showdown between the Sante Kotoko and Hearts of Folk at 3 p.m. This is the ultimate Ghana football rivalry, a game that needs no introduction. And will Kotoko reign supreme in Kumasi, or will Hearts break their hearts in the upcoming backyard? Well, it's shaping up to be an immensible weekend in the Ghana Premier League, and we will be bringing you more details in sports up to speed of it shortly. Away from sports, we're back with international updates. The Democratic Republic of Congo will receive 3 million doses of Japan's LC16M8 Mpox vaccine next week, allowing children aged 0 to 5 to be vaccinated for the first time. The Africa CDC says the vaccine, originally developed for smallpox by KM Biologics, will help curb the outbreak, with children under 15 accounting for over 44% of Congo's 10,533 confirmed Mpox cases. Africa CDC Director Jean Kassiya confirmed the vaccines had been delayed due to legal hurdles, but will now be delivered. Japan will also send a delegation to train health workers on using the bifurcated needles method required for administering the vaccine. The World Health Organization has declared the outbreak a global public health emergency, and the Africa CDS is also in talks with Japan for more dozens to support other African countries affected by the outbreak. Let's bring you some entertainment update after this. In entertainment, Selena Gomez has announced her engagement with music producer Benny Blanco. The 32-year-old singer and actress shared photos on Instagram showing off her diamond ring, with Blanco, 36, affectionately kissing her head. Gomez captioned the post, and I quote, "Forever begins now," while Blanco playfully responded, "Hey, wait, that's my wife." The romance began after they worked together on Gomez's 2019 track, "I Can't Get Enough." Well, Blanco had previously hinted at marriage plans during a May interview on the Howard Stern show. Gomez previously described the relationship as it built on mutual respect and emotional safety. Blanco produced her song Single Soon in 2023, solidifying their creative and personal bond. Well, congratulations to Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco over there. We wish to see how this love story would end. But that's all for this afternoon. I am Eric Chinibwa. Do want to join the news team again at 6 for more extensive topics here on ABC. Do have a good afternoon.